Hold on, let me get the headphones. Y'all already know now is the vibrate, not too far in the future, not too far in the past, right now. Just feeling the vibe to get a little morning build in. For those of y'all coming in, let me know how the audio. Oh wait, hold on. All right, yeah. Let me know how the audio coming through. Just a little vibe of, again, refining information already spoken on this channel. Getting into the elementals. What's up, Ajana Nicole? What's up? Peace to you. And matter of fact, where y'all coming from? Where y'all at in the world? Matter of fact, I gotta start doing more videos that align with the time slot for those that's overseas. Gonna tap into a little, again, elemental astrology, and that's one thing, you know, again, looking at, you know, zodiac signs more so as just elements in general, you know, because I was sitting here and just, again, when you think about balancing out the elements within, you know, matter of fact, the Avatar vibes, Last Airbender vibes, you know, it's like treating your natal chart as if it's just talking about elements, not necessarily like, oh, you know, in which, again, the animals that you know, that represent some of these zodiac signs, you know, oh shoot, as soon as I say international vibe, peace, Heskuk from Norway, what's up, melanated queen, Scorpio in the 7th house, all right, that Scorpio energy with the 7th house, that's the, let's see, Virgo, yeah, that's the Libra house, word. See, and I'm one of those perfectionists in some manner, you know, I ain't gonna say like that, you know, because of course working on not being no extreme perfectionist on that level, you know, but when it comes to, like, you know, speaking on certain subject matter, you know, certain aspects of astrology, I'm still, you know, getting to know, but just in the simple aspect of it, you know, it's just like a math equation, you know, Scorpio traits, 7th house, you know what I'm saying, or Libra traits, so it's like a mixture of, you know, your Libra energy in general with Scorpio energy, but, you know, again, depending on whether it's a house or whether it's a zodiac sign, you know, or a planet, you know, one or the other may have a stronger influence in the situation more than the other. But what I am great at speaking on is just stuff that just comes to me in connection with, you know what I'm saying, these things. And again, looking at the natal chart like as if it's just talking about just, you know, elements, you know, and along with that, you know, like you got the cardinal signs, the mutable signs, and the fixed signs. So, you know, also adding that, like, so looking at it as the cardinal element, the fixed element, and the mutable element, you know, because it, you know, with studying myself, it's like, all right, you know, look at, you know, if you're not familiar, your North Node speaks to the energy that you're tapping into in this lifetime, you know what I'm saying, or the energy that's beneficial for you to tap into in this lifetime, because your South Node is the energy that you've been used to, you know what I'm saying, like you constantly been dealing with that energy, you know, and also along with your south node, you know, that speaks to the energy that you dealt with a lot. You know, when you look at your natal chart, any house that has a lot of planets or a lot of activity in it, aka, you know what I'm saying, that will also be pointing to the fact that, all right, you dealt with that energy a lot, you know what I'm saying? And which, you know, the +2, you know, the south node energy is like, all right, you know, that's the area that you're familiar with. So in essence, you know, it doesn't mean like to just, you know, stray away from it. You know, you can still tap into it, but it's just the energy of, you know, knowing that that's where your complacency exists, or like that's where, you know, your comfort zone exists, and not necessarily, you know, the growth, you know, which I want to also do, you know, kind of go into a video on knowing the difference between, like, you know, because certain things, you know, we use these little words so loosely, you know, comfort zone and what makes you comfortable, you know, and, you know, sometimes there's things that make you uncomfortable because it's telling you, you know, it's like your inner guidance kind of letting you know, like, that's something for you to not deal with, you know what I'm saying, in essence. So the uncomfortable feeling is like, yeah, you know, don't go that way, you know. And then sometimes the uncomfortable feeling is something that's more so an obstacle that you should work through, you know what I'm saying, that you are meant to face and meant to, you know, go through, in essence. And knowing the difference between, again, like, you know, how, you know, again, like how your inner guidance is guiding you. And that comes, again, like with the awareness of yourself, awareness of all the past situations you've been dealing with. Because, again, you and only you, in essence, know what you have constantly been running from. So, in essence, that would be an obvious sign. Like, if you constantly been running from a certain situation and your inner being has been constantly like, hey, nah, you need to face this, you need to face this, then you know that that uncomfortable situation is something that's an obstacle that needs to be faced, compared to, you know, something that, you know, feels, you know, uncomfortable, but more in a weird way, or more like almost like a warning sign, in essence, to not, you know, to not deal with it, you know. And I always feel within, like, you know, your inner being is more so gonna, like, your inner being is never necessarily gonna fear-monger you, you know, into doing something. Like, the inner being more so inspires you. So, like, if there's a fire going on this way, you know what I'm saying, and you should go this way, your inner being is not gonna fear-monger you about the fire. You know, the inner being is gonna be like, hey, you know, maybe you should go that way. You know, so again, like, when any kind of thoughts come in about like some fearful, like, oh no, stay away from that, stay away. That's most cases, that's thoughts, you know what I'm saying? That's ego, in essence, you know, in some way, form, or fashion, trying to prevent you from working through an obstacle that you're meant to, you know, work through and face, in essence, you know what I'm saying? And again, just paying attention to detail, you know, and that's where journaling come in, or good memory comes in, you know what I'm saying? Just did the video on memory, you know, having that awareness. And we'll get into that. I see you ask, how do you feel about the planet heating itself up and all of the major storms, you know? It's just, you know, it's just a change, you know what I'm saying? Again, like, as above, so below, as within, so without, you know, just like, you know, our bodysuit, when there's some type of healing that's necessary in some part of the body, or just in the whole body, in essence, you know, sometimes our temperature raise, and you know, it happens. What's funny is it happens on Earth, and, you know, or should I say, like, you know, certain people or certain beings try to treat or create treatments for symptoms, but these symptoms are actually the treatment, you know what I'm saying? In the sense, like, when you get a cold, or you get you know, or like a fever. Like, of course you don't want to, you know, burn up in essence, but like the fever, you getting hot because the fever is burning things up to like eliminate something that is toxic, you know what I'm saying? So in essence, you taking the medicine to stop the fever, but the fever was meant to come up, you know what I'm saying? Or like you taking the medicine to, you know, prevent mucus, but the mucus coming up so you could spit the shit out, you know what I'm saying? So you know, like these medicines kind of preventing the help from doing its job in essence, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing with, you know, like say for instance, like, oh, you know, volcanoes erupting, which, you know, volcanoes so powerful, you know, you can't even do this with, but just if they could, they probably would. But like, oh, this volcano about to erupt, we created this little thing to clog up this volcano, you know, to fix this problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like that volcano erupting, all these storms is happening for a reason. Because again, like with storms kind of come through and like cleanse the area, you know what I'm saying? On some, want to get into like atoms and electrons, you know, but bringing the negative ions in, you know, after a thunderstorm, you know what I'm saying? And kind of cleansing things energetically. You know, I spoke to that being from Louisiana, you know, like that energy of how it would feel after, you know, a storm, you know, and how like it almost had that energy like, oh yeah, let's go outside for real now, you know, like let's fire up the pit, you know what I'm saying, barbecue, or you know what I'm saying, have some type of energy of being outside, because you could kind of feel the air being cleansed, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like that balance of when you take something away, you know, you enjoy the pleasure of it, you know, you kind of get to enjoy it more, you know, like because there's so many rainy days in Louisiana, you know, those days when it don't rain, you know, isn't taken for granted, you know what I'm saying? And it creates that appreciation, you know what I'm saying? For both. What's funny, like the weather kind of allows for that appreciation for both, because it's hot as fuck and humid as fuck. So it's like, you know, like, damn, man, kind of wish it would rain, you know, and the rain come, and then it's like, all right, I will enjoy that clearness, you know. But yeah, definitely one thing, you know, is for sure, though, you don't have to, you know, don't fear-monger yourself about it. You know, you're going to be, you know, that's where our inner work comes in, and vibrating on the frequency to be aware. That's where the grounding comes in, you know, to prevent, you know, that fearful flight or fight energy from, you know, coming up. And then also, you know, being in a space where you're connected with the grid, you know what I'm saying? Like you're connected with, you know, the trees and nature, you know what I'm saying? So you're going to like intuitively move in alignment where, you know, where you need to be. You know, it's kind of like the perspective of, you know, being in alignment with, like when you're in a, like you got your protective bubble, and when you're doing things in alignment with your inner being, you know, that bubble gonna be with you, you know, compared to like if you ever got into some shit where you like, damn, like where that come from? Why I got into that? You know, or you felt like you got into some shit where you almost felt like your inner being, higher self, spirit guides, whatever aspect of your inner guidance, however you want to name it, you know, where you got into something where you felt like it wasn't there, you know, it's because you went into a space where it was like, all right, we're here, but you going way over there, you know what I'm saying, type of energy. But yeah, you know, it's definitely a lot of little changes. I did see like a volcano erupting somewhere. You know, I tend to, you know, pay attention to what's going on in my immediate, you know, space. You know, so I don't be too familiar with, you know, like it comes to me, and again, shout out to that, like whether it's through nature or through, you know, like because I post stuff on YouTube or the internet, stuff like that, you know, something will come, you know, like I forgot I was posting something and I saw something about a volcano erupting somewhere, and I'm like, all right, you know. Say it. What are the must-have daily crystals and why? A must-have daily crystal, first and foremost, should be, your own inner crystal. You know what I'm saying? It sounds all corny and cliche, but hey, you know what I'm saying? Gotta get the inner crystal right. You know what I'm saying? So before even getting into a crystal to wear, you know what I'm saying, doing your meditation, grounding, doing whatever exercises that you do to help your, emotional body, physical body, mental body, astral, etheric body, so taking care of that crystal first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? And as you take care of that crystal, then the physical manifestation, if you're into working with crystals, then the physical manifestation precedes the inner work. You know what I'm saying? So externally you'll work with crystals that align with the inner work, and that also goes into the elements and stuff as well, and we could get into that too, like working with certain crystals to complement your north node energy. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, North Node and Aries, you know what I'm saying? So like working with, iron crystals with a lot of iron, because that connects with the Mars energy. You know what I'm saying? So, promoting the energy to step more into that North Node, because again, like that's that, that zone that's not comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It feels a little uncomfortable to some extent, because, depending on what what you signed up for or what portal you jumped through, aka your natal chart, you may with your North Node, in some cases you might have other placements, other placements that helps you to have ease with tapping into your North Node. And then in some cases you may have like aspects that more so makes it challenging to tap into your North Node, depending on, I want to say karmic cycles and energies you've been through in the past and what portals you jumped through in this lifetime. But yeah, it must have daily crystal. For me, anything that would, having that balance of love and discernment. So like a crystal that would promote, self-love in some type of way, and this generally speaking, because I'm gonna have to get more into it, but like, a crystal that promotes some form of like self-love. Of course, rose quartz is the obvious, but matter of fact, like any crystals that may have manganese in them, you know what I'm saying? Because manganese promotes that empathy, and that most pink crystals have manganese in them, but you could say like marganite. Well, not saying manganese and marganite, with rhodochrosite and rhodonite, that has manganese in it. So, working with crystals, again, with certain elements, because no coincidence, of course, these names for these elements from the periodic table, don't pre-exist the ancient aspects of elements in general. But, again, that goes into it. But again, a crystal that would help with the self-love aspect, and then also being discerning and knowing how to, although I'm loving and caring, I know I live in a world where everybody's not too fond of my energy, no matter how much I'm into the awareness of wholeness and integration, and, integrating yourself and, doing that inner work. There's still going to be beings that are antagonists, and, again, that don't just, and again, as within, so without, just like as you start to practice healthy habits, there's those old habits that like try to keep popping up and like come back here, you know what I'm saying? And hence why we have to have that discipline in, doing things with the inner work. But, another aspect to the must-have daily crystals, I would say, and I ain't say, must have, but, the best crystals for you on a daily is also paying attention to your areas, your problematic areas, or your areas where you need more help in, You know, again, only you are aware of like that you always have problems with your throat chakra, you know, balancing your throat chakra. Or you always deal with problems, you know, balancing your sacral chakra, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, go off of that vibe, you know, and you can always use a pendulum if you don't feel, you know, too, you know, if you feel you need a little help, you know, you can use a little pendulum to, you know, like figure out like, all right, should I use this rose quartz today in the pendulum? Like, no. Or should I use this hematite today in the pendulum? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, tapping in on that level. But, you know, again, it's all in connection with, you know, what's best for you in your moment and you being aware of yourself, you know what I'm saying? And in that connection. And again, going back to, you know, tapping into the North Node energy, you know, because again, with astrology, it's not the end all be all or something that you have to be so meticulously on or like so anal about, so to speak. But it definitely has, you know, relevance. You know what I'm saying? That even if you're not aware of it, it still, you know, it still has some influence, you know. Again, because most of your mythological stories and stuff like that, you know, anatomy is mythology by law, you know, and just anatomy of this body, but also the body that we're in or experiencing, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? And the body of the constellations, you know, like that all has, you know, some form of influence. But again, like, you know, looking at your astrology chart and again, like seeing, like for me, you know, looking at, matter of fact, the Chiron, like some of the important, you know, placements I look at is my moon sign, my Chiron, and the nodes, North Node, South Node, you know, which North Node, South Node actually deals with the moon energy as well, because in some way, form, or fashion, the moon energy is kind of connected to, you know, the process of reincarnation, you know, because if you got strong, you know, heavy emotions, that's why, you know, so much of information would be talking about the Saturn and moon matrix, you know what I'm saying? The Saturn moon matrix, you know, it's because, you know, the Saturn energy again deals with, you know, certain levels of discipline, you know, structure, you know, quote unquote karmic energy or cause and effect, you know what I'm saying? And the moon energy, you know, deals with the subconscious, you know, the area of, you know, emotions. And again, like, you know, our emotions could be, you know, very, you know, attached to certain things in this realm, you know, and, you know, the Saturn is like carrying out the discipline in connection with those emotions that you're attached to, you know, just in short, because I done went into that. So I don't want to, you know, turn this into that, you know, go on a tangent. Honestly, again, because I'm not like, so with the Q&A, you know what I'm saying, it'll be Q&A about certain little things that you know, you may be dealing with or have questions about, more so in the space of like things that I haven't like talked about ad nauseum, or you got a question about, you know, something I've talked about, you know, but from a more specific space, because, you know, again, like expounding on mythology is anatomy. Like, I think I should have a playlist right now, you know, but I, like my last few videos, you know what I'm saying, I say over the last little year been, you know, definitely a lot of mythology is anatomy by law. And that's the quote, like mythology is anatomy by law of correspondence, as above so below, as within so without, as it is in a microcosm, it is in a macrocosm, you know, as it is in your bodysuit, as it is on earth, you know what I'm saying, you know. So and also with the mythological stories, you know, again, I just did a video on, you know, the hippocampus, you know what I'm saying, and its connection with PTSD, and how certain deities storylines are basically also in alignment with anatomy. I think of Brother Panic, bringing up the connection with this lady Judy K. King. She did some books. I forgot one of them, called Great Balls of Fire or something like that. Don't quote me on that one. Paraphrasing somewhat, because I can't remember the full title. But and she also, if you type in, unless they took it down, Judy K. King, Gudy K, like the letter K, and King, King. It talks about how Thoth, which Thoth is like all kind of gods and deities, like on so many different levels. It's kind of like like a changeling through time, you know what I'm saying, in essence. But speaks on how Thoth represents DNA and RNA. So again, like the mythological stories that you hear about in myths, or these deities in myths, are also things that are in your body, you know what I'm saying? Like your RNA and DNA is like the story also of a quote unquote deity in essence, you know what I'm saying? Like the story of the Christ energy is also the story of the anatomy of your metaphysical anatomy of, when you talk about chakras and your subtle bodies, when you breathe and do the microcosmic orbit, where you see the chi energy move from your root chakra to the crown, and from your crown back to your root. He ascended into heaven and then descended back into hell. So, like, without going too deep and going into every story, you know what I'm saying, that's basically, what it is, you know what I'm saying, on a small level. Because even matter of fact, and since you bring it up, though, so, all right, we'll tap into it from this perspective in alignment with one of the things I did want to bring up, with so like the cherubim, the seraphim, and the ophanum, you know what I'm saying, which again are different types of quote unquote angels or angles. And again, it all kind of points back to elements, and in essence astrology. But again, like looking at astrology as, again, just connecting with the elements, But like, again, you got the cherubim, you know what I'm saying, which was created, in the storyline, created by Yadalabrat's son Saboeth. And Yadalabrat, you pay attention to him, he has a lion face with a snake tail, and it also connected to, a sperm in essence, you know what I'm saying? And sperm is considered solar phallic energy, but the cherubim, is connected to being a chariot, you know what I'm saying? A chariot driven by the likeness of man. And the cherubim is depicted as a four-faced angel, you know what I'm saying? That has a eagle face, lion face, bull face, and if I didn't say it, a man's face, and that represents the four fixed signs or the four fixed elements, you know what I'm saying? The four elements in general, without, again, not cardinal or mutable. Mutable is more changeable and adaptable. Cardinal is like the leader aspect, but these are like, look, we are that element. It ain't no changing and shifting us, you know what I'm saying, type of energy, But literally, that's what the cherubim, represents. And again, I always talk about how, and it's from my own experience, from inner gnosis and psychedelic journeys, where it showed me like, all right, in essence, like, my soul, my inner being existed before even words existed, you know what I'm saying? Before you could, and when you just look at it, it's like, all right, if I am eternal, which means infinite, which means like the true essence of my being never had a born date, so it's never gonna have like a dying date, then anything with a creation date and extermination or expiration date, Doesn't mean that it's not, you know, interconnected to me or I don't have some type of connection to it, but it is not the true essence of my being, or AKA it came after, you know, the true soul essence, you know, and hence why, you know, it's so many different languages to say the same shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you got this god or deity over here that does the same thing as these African gods or deities, that does the same thing as these Aztec gods or deities, that does the same thing, you know, like the 16 crucified saviors, you know, that came before the Jesus story. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, the same being or same stories being told over and over, you know. But like, you know, again, the Bible just kind of shifted things to make it, you know, more digestible to certain humans, or a human aspect that, you know, and more so also the disguise, like, you know, the truth in some way, form, or fashion. But, you know, because when you look into it, you know, again, the Christ energy and the Lucifer energy is like one and the same, and that's also kind of pointing to the Thoth energy, or the, you know, the trickster or Legba energy, or the Mercury energy. You know what I'm saying? Mercury is the messenger of the gods. You know what I'm saying? Also could be considered like the trickster energy. You know what I'm saying? That's connected to Loki, but also connected to Wednesday, you know, or Odin. You know what I'm saying? And again, in some perspectives, you know, you got a god that represents, you know, different things. But matter of fact, I don't want to go too much on that tangent, but you kind of, you know, you get the picture. But again, with the cherubim, you know, the cherubim, again, is like a chariot driven by the likeness of man. And, you know, think about the likeness of man on the cherubim, you know, is actually the Aquarius energy, you know, and no coincidence that we're tapping into the Aquarian, you know, age right now, you know, that Aquarius energy. And below the feet of the cherubim, you know what I'm saying? So you have 4 cherubim that kind of make up the chariot. So it's like 4 actual, you know, like 4 bodies in essence. But since each body has 4 faces, it's like 16 faces, you know what I'm saying? But again, you know, you have these cherubim that represents a chariot, you know what I'm saying? And below the feet of the cherubim, you had the Ophanum. Now it's called the Ophanum in some traditions, are also, you know, biblically it may be called the thrones, you know, that hierarchy of angels, you know what I'm saying? And either way, they're known for being like a wheel inside of a wheel. I did my best to, like, you know, where the outer line is like a Taurus field, so the little thin line outwardly, but then this is kind of like that wheel inside a wheel, the best way I could draw it, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, and the wheel that basically a wheel full of eyes, you know, so there's eyes all over the wheel. And again, you know, eyes in essence, you know, for one, it could represent the Vesica Pisces or Pisces energy, you know what I'm saying? But also, because again, you know, even looking at a wheel and a wheel, you know, it's like a little eye itself, you know, but it's also like in essence forming a Taurus field. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a little energy field. So as we talk about, again, like anatomy and mythology, you know, like these religious stories or mythological stories of the cherubim, seraphim, and the Ophanum, you know what I'm saying? Of course, they had other hierarchies, but we're talking about these right now. You know, again, it's a mythological story, but also anatomy, because, you know, again, within your body, you know, you have the 4 elements, you know, you have the cherubim that's inside of you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the chariot of elements that you're tapping into. As a matter of fact, you know, seeing how just a lot of things coming in are connecting etherically, you know, Seven Bomar had been talking about this recently as well, you know, about the whole chariot perspective, you know. But again, and matter of fact, if you want to tap into this on a biblical level, you know, and most of the, you know, with the book of Enoch, or if you go into the Bible and the parts about Ezekiel, you know, Ezekiel chapter 1 verses 15 through 21, I have a lot about the Ophanim. And another word for the Ophanim is, again, whirlwinds or spheres. You know, we talk about a whirlwind, you know, in a whirl, like a whirlpool or a torus field. And Gnostic scriptures talk about, you know, and just and the Bible has a part where it's like at first was the Word, and the Word is God, and the Word again deals with the air element. It deals with thought, you know, and no coincidence that Yadala brought in a lot of these scriptures was his other name was called forethought. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, and Toth, you know, and all that connect. But, you know, it connects to the thoughts, and the words are the air element. You know what I'm saying? And again, in the name not coming up, but it's a Gnostic scripture, the Valentine Gnostic scripture, the something tripartite. If you just type in Gnostic and tripartite, it should come up. But, you know, dang, what I speak. Oh, and it speaks on, like, again, like how, you know, basically worlds were created by words or by thought forms. So basically, like, a world in essence is like a thought form in so many words. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended. No pun intended. You know, but again, the Ophanim, you know, represented, you know, like the Taurus field, because guess what? The cherubim, you know, sat like over the Ophanim, and the Ophanim was like the wheels, you know. And whenever the cherubim, you know, it speaks to like where the cherubim, you know, moves in this direction, so the wheels move. Like the cherubim spirit was like connected with the wheels or the Ophanim, you know what I'm saying? So when the elements would move, the Ophanim would move, you know what I'm saying? Or the wheels or the Taurus fields, you know, would move on that level, you know. Again, Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 20, spirit of living creatures, aka, because that was another word for the cherubim. If they say living creatures, the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels, you know what I'm saying? And I also thought about, like, you know, when we talk about movement, we talk about willpower, you know what I'm saying, and willpower, you know what I'm saying. So it's like the wheels churning, you know, and then your will, because you move things with your will. You know, when you have the will to go do this, or you have the will to go eat some food, you know, them wheels start turning, you know. Again, whether it's just your physical body, well, your physical body first, and then you actually jump into something that's actually like a chariot, you know what I'm saying, as a vehicle, and get those wheels to spinning to get you where you know you're trying to go. So your wheel and the wheels, you know what I'm saying, just, you know, you see all of the connections. And then you also had like little crystal references too, which kind of shows, like, again, like how they line up certain crystals with certain, you know, zodiac signs as birthstones, you know. But in one verse they talk about the likeness of man, or the cherubims. The cherubims sit on a throne made of sapphire, and some texts they say lapis lazuli, you know what I'm saying. And again, you see how the words just start to like mix and, you know, get all confusing, or, you know, could cause confusion, you know. And that goes back to the you know, I shade a credo mutua, you know, an elder priest in Africa, you know, that would tell a story of the Chitauri people, Chitauri, you know. But it was like and as I say this before I get into it, doesn't mean that all reptilian beings are, you know, malevolent in that sense of it, you know. But again, because again, like, that's what the integrity and harmony comes in, because it's like, you know, we got all these different elements within us, and all elements has a positive and negative to it, you know. But he talks about the Chitauri people and how, you know, things went from an androgynous nature to separate into male and female, and then once getting into male and female, you get, you know, brought in words or language to create more confusion, you know, and in connection with that, you know, that goes to the, you know, you got Aboriginal people in the Australia area where they actually had tribes where the women spoke a different language from the men, you know what I'm saying? So kind of, you know, to coincide with evidence of that. And then, so, you know, you had the whole sapphire thing, and then also with, you know, the phantom, you know, the wheels sparkled like topaz, you know, the wheels, or, you know, the phantom sparkled like topaz, you know, that's in chapter 1, verse 16, Ezekiel, you know. And then you got the seraphim, you know what I'm saying, which were considered like serpent-like beings and had, you know, connected to fire, you know. And you know, I had a video on the etymology of, like, you know, you talk about you know, breathing and breath work, or spirit, you know, spirit, spiral, you know, and then pyramid, pyra, or pyro, you know what I'm saying, fire in the middle, you know what I'm saying, pyramid, fire in the middle, you know. And then when we talk about, you know, the Naga energy in, you know, in the Hindu area, you know what I'm saying, or the Indus Kush Valley that stretched from Ethiopia to like the Angkor Wat area in essence, you know. But, you know, doing that breath work, you know what I'm saying, ignites that Kundalini fire, or that serpent, you know, to go up again, like mythology and anatomy, you know what I'm saying. You see how it's a character in these stories, but it's also speaking to the anatomy of your physical and metaphysical body, you know what I'm saying, depending on, you know, how ancient the story is. You know, some aspects talking about your more subtle bodies, you know what I'm saying, again, like the chakras and energy fields within your body. And then some stuff is talking about, you know, where it got to the point where you had a physical body, and speaking on that, you know what I'm saying. But the seraphim, you know, would show up in like burning flashes of fire, and they continuously ascended and descended. You know what I'm saying? When you, and like I just talked about, like, again, you know, so another perspective of the Christ energy, and in connection with, you could say, Quetzalcoatl in the Aztec or Mayan tradition, you know, was like a feathered serpent, you know what I'm saying? And a feathered serpent in essence could also fly. They also kind of, this was also in the little show on HBO Max, Raised by Wolves. You know what I'm saying? That show was pretty interesting, and, you know, had a lot of little Gnostic, you know, implications in the in Gnostic scripture in general. As I'm like, you know, been kind of studying it and looking at it, you know, it's almost like a mixture of, like, you can almost feel like Greek stories and Christianity mixed together. And I forgot the name of the Greek Bible, the Spetu. Don't quote me on it, you know. But you know, you see, like, it's a mixture of kind of both of those texts, because hence why you got Eros in Gnostic scriptures, which Eros in essence, you know, in so many words is like Cupid, you know, and kind of goes into erotic, and you know, we talk about etymology, but, you know, that whole little connection, you know, so you see a lot of those little types of references kind of closely connected. But again, the seraphim, you know, ascending and descending. So, you know, the ascending microcosmic goes up to the crown, and descends when you breathe, you know, when you exhale, you know what I'm saying, going back down, the breath, you know, the oxygen ignites the fire. You know, you've seen a fire, or you heard people talk about, you know what I'm saying, like somebody, like an old person on an oxygen tank, and, you know, it's like, stay away from that fire, because that oxygen is going to ignite the fire, you know. So again, like, all these different little terminologies connecting. So again, the cherubim is like the chariot, you know what I'm saying? And, directing our elementals. And that goes, again, to the inner work of knowing, again, like our elements and looking at our astrology chart, our natal chart, as if we're just connecting with elements, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? Because, again, it's like, all right, if I know, and first and foremost having to study, the elements and how they move, like how does fire move? How does water move? How does air move? How does, earth move in essence? And again, earth is very sturdy, very steadfast, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at your, day to day, do you lack a sturdiness or a grounded energy? Do you lack being rooted and grounded or sturdy about things? Then you might need to work with, the earth elements. And again, or like crystals, that would be more, into like the metals or kind of in essence like heavier energies to kind of help ground you, you know what I'm saying? Or like a, petrified wood, the hematites, the pyrites, you know what I'm saying? But something that, either has the crystal structure, because that's another thing, the geometry, the crystal structure that aligns with the earth energy, aka the cube, you know what I'm saying? Because pyrite, or even though fluorite's not super grounding, they tapped into like that cube energy in essence by being like organizing. You're able to like organize things, so it kind of taps into somewhat, the Virgo energy. I would say like fluorite is kind of like a, earth and air combination, and it allows for, again, and it's in the name, fluorite, the etymology, like to flow. You have a certain flow when you have that balance of your, your earth and air, of course, of all elements, but, the earth and air aspects, which, let me see, with fire. Well, yeah, I would say, fluorite, not so much, though, with the fire aspect, because it definitely balances, it helps to balance out the water, air, and earth energies, because, again, it amplifies organization, which crystal structure in general, it's like that earth energy, it helps to create mental clarity, that's air aspect, and it helps to promote emotional clarity or subconscious clarity, which more so is the water aspect, you know what I'm saying? So, again, like you see how all those things connect. And then I just did the video on fluorite, again, looking at the elements is a part of the salt family, and what salt does. Salt, in essence, it keeps a balance of the water energy within the body. When there's too much water, you bring in some sodium. Again, like working with sodalite, petersite, you know what I'm saying? Those type of energy, if you're dealing with too much overwhelming water energies, you know what I'm saying? Again, if you're not a crystal person, should do a meditation and talk to the sodium in the body, or, you know what I'm saying? Whether, because again, we can go on all levels. If you're a breatharian and you don't eat food, so it means you don't eat sodium, then shit, meditate on, like activating the sodium within your body, you know what I'm saying? And like, or drawing it in through every breath from nature, you know what I'm saying? Or amplifying the sodium energy, or if you do eat foods, you know what I'm saying? Like you could eat foods with sodium in it. Or if you do work with crystals, work with crystals with sodium in it. Whatever level, you know what I'm saying? No right or wrong, no good or bad. Everybody different on their growth. And a lot of beings connect differently to different elements, more than others, you know what I'm saying? So, of course, again, like looking to balance all those energies out. But there are energies that, again, like looking at your south node, there's energies that you're just real familiar with, like looking at your south node or the stelliums, and not even have to be a stellium, because, just looking at those houses in your natal chart where there's a lot of, a lot more planets in it, you know what I'm saying? And the empty houses are more so could speak to like, again, those elements or houses that you never really, work with as much, You know what I'm saying? But again, the south node, you know, if you dealt with, let's say your south node, it was a Taurus or whatever, you know, so you used to like a lot of earth energy. And so although, let's see, I always kind of forget, let's see, Taurus, I think Taurus and Aquarius. Wait, I gotta do that. One of y'all help me out. What's the opposite sign of Taurus? Drawing a blank. But just going on from there, you know, but again, like, you know, if your south node is Taurus, you know, you're familiar not only with the earth energy, you know, but also that may speak to the planet that, you know, that rules that particular, you know, element, you know, that fixed element, you know what I'm saying, in so many words, you know what I'm saying. So like, you know, used to the Venus energy, used to the earth energy, you know what I'm saying. All right, Scorpio. All right. Damn, why I'm missing that? Aries. All right, I see why. Bam. Aries, Libra. Right, Taurus, Scorpio. So, you know, the north node energy would be, you know, the Scorpio energy or the water energy, an energy that's like unfamiliar. You know, you're more used to that earth energy, you know what I'm saying, more used to, you know, dealing with your values and material aspects and enjoying sensuality, you know what I'm saying, and connecting with that energy, you know, in which Scorpio energy connects with sensuality too. You know, you kind of see how like the opposites do have somewhat of the same energies to them, you know, like Capricorn and Cancer. You know, like they both care about having stability in the home, but it's a little different, you know what I'm saying? It's a little polarizing, you know. One connects with emotions a little more, and one kind of connects with the earth energy a little more, which Capricorns is the sea goat, so it's known for like having its tail in the water, but you know what I'm saying, for the most part, you know, more earthy energy, more climbing the mountain energy. But again, and so in your life, you know what I'm saying, you know, tapping in with things that will promote and help you to, you know, connect more with that Scorpio energy, you know, where also on a spiritual level, you know, Taurus's, you know, energy may just deal with things more so like what I could see and what's physical and material, what comes to me with my two eyes instead of my first eye, where Scorpio dives into the depths of the emotions and the subconscious. So, you know, like, you know, I think of like a black obsidian, you know what I'm saying? This is the first one that come out, Numite, you know what I'm saying? Black obsidian, Numite, you know, our carnelian when we talk about the sexual energies or the sacral energies of the Scorpio energy. But in general, you know, it's like embodying the water energy, you know, so it's like, you know, being more fluent, learning how to deal with having to absorb things, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with, you know, learning how to deal with flowing, being in a more flow state, you know what I'm saying? Again, like look at how the water operates, and you know, because literally, you know, with, you know, when we talk about the tarot cards and all that as well, you know, it's like just a description of the kingdom of elements, you know what I'm saying? You got the king and the queen of fire, you know, you got the prince of fire, you got the princess of fire, then you got the, you know, the different, you know, because the, you know, the number cards in the tarot in essence kind of goes through the different zodiac signs, you know. So again, the fire signs, Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries, you know. But again, cardinal fire, mutable fire, and fixed fire, you know what I'm saying? And it all has, yin and yang energies to it, aka, you know, because literally with the male and female depictions of things is the depiction of, you know, yin and yang energies. What, you know, to not get caught up in the word magic of the new age vibe of like positive is good and negative is, you know, bad. You know, it's like, no, everything, you know, again, in order for a battery to work, you know, it has a positive and a negative side to it, you know. So every, you know, every element has its positive and its negative side, you know. But yeah, tapping in with your natal chart, you know, you'll see what elements, you know, you've been great at working with and what elements, you know, you haven't been great at dealing with. Let's see what y'all talking about. Oh damn, but that Pisces moon energy is like off the chain, man. That's why I'm working with my fluorite so much, man. What's up, Mr. Braxton? Cause I saw I kind of picked up and had a thought about you earlier. Matter of fact, I think when I typed in the word elementals, and since you're here, I guess that's why you're here, you know what I'm saying? So matter of fact, which I don't want to slaughter the name, brethren. You know, but everybody, Chief Bob Bowie, you're gonna have to hit us with the syllable pronunciation. But again, reverence and respect. But I remember you posted something about, like, you know, mental, you know, and mental, like, you know what I'm saying? Because again, like, the mental deals with more so the air aspects, and again, the air and fire are the upper triangles, are the masculine energy, you know. So like, you know, giants in essence being like, you know, like mental or mental, you know what I'm saying, aspects, ELeMENTALS. But yeah, no, I haven't read the Mysteries of the Crystal Skulls though, brethren. Yep, the birds, dragons energy, yep. Right. Matter of fact, yeah, with the 6 signs thing too, and that goes into like the little downloads I was getting about, you know, where like 3 is the only, you know, in essence, like 3 is, not say is the last number or the only, you know, like 1, 2, and 3 is the only numbers, but, you know, again, you get 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9 is just a repeat of 1, 2, 3, you know what I'm saying? And the whole little Nikola Tesla little quote about, you know, 3, 6, and 9 being so important, you know, but, you know, again, you got the first trinity, you know, and then the first trinity creates, you know, a 1. Let's see, I did this before. Let's draw it out again right now. We got 1, 2, 3. No, 1, 2, and 3. Then you got, and not saying it's necessarily, you know, like this in essence, you know, as far as like which one is inside the other. But, you know, again, like the expansion of fractals, you got 1, 2, and 3, and then, you know, you got 4, and 4 could also represent the earth energy. And 1, 2, and 3, you know, when we talk about the Hebrew letters, like the main first Hebrew letters, you know, Mem, what it is, Mem, the mother letters, I should say, is 3. Mem, which connects with water, you know, Aleph, which connects with air, and I want to say Shin with the fire, you know what I'm saying? And so again, like a world, again, with those three elements and needing like a little earthly plane or like something for those energies to interact on or with, in essence. But again, you know, it's like a little fractal, so 1, 2, and 3, and then the same little thing again, 1, 2, and 3, and then you get a bigger circle around this one, you know, which is 1, 2, and 3 are 6, you know, no, not 6, 7, 8, and 9, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's definitely you know, again, it's just like fractal spinning out, and hence why, you know, there's so much emphasis on Hermes Trismegistus, aka Thoth, you know what I'm saying, aka Jehudi, aka the trickster Legba energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, why there's so much, you know, emphasis. And that's also like you know, the archetype of Deadpool, in essence, if you're familiar with Marvel, like, you know, again, not just for the higher chakras or for the lower chakras, you know, he just like, again, that's what a mercenary represents, you know, a mercenary slash, in essence, like another form of a messenger, you know, like he just do the work for whatever gods, you know what I'm saying, hire him. He doing work for the crown chakra, sometimes he doing work for the root chakra, sometimes he doing work for the heart chakra, you know, whoever paying the most in that moment, you know what I'm saying. But you know, that's why he represents like being an antagonist towards quote unquote villains and the heroes, because it also represents, you know, like, again, like the being in the middle energy, you know, because again, the 3, it's like an upside down 3, but, you know, like an upside down 3, you know, like being in the middle of that 3, you know, in the middle of yin and yang, 1 and 2, or 0 and 1, you know what I'm saying, the binary code, you know, or you could either say, you know, 0, 1, and 2, or 1, 2, and 3, the way you want to look at it, you know. It depends on, you know, the type of being telling the story, in essence, on whether it should be 0, 1, and 2, or it should be 1, 2, and 3, you know. But yeah, definitely, you know, tapping into balancing out the elements within, you know, is very, very key. And speaking on that, you know, also came across, shout out to Dan Winters. Dan Winters brought up, you know, how the Cherokee language, or the Cherokee alphabet, the Cherokee, quote unquote, I don't even use that word no more. I always say natives at this point, or indigenous beings, you know, the Cherokee indigenous beings in quote unquote America, you know, their language kind of like strongly resembles the Ophanum and Enochian, or Enochian, you know, letters, you know, again, which you go to research in John Dee and Edward Kelly and how they was channeling these quote unquote angels or angles of light, you know, because again, different angles of the elements, you know what I'm saying? You got this angle, you know, which is more fixed fire. You got this angle, which is more fixed water, you know what I'm saying? Like this perspective, you know, because this perspective of water kind of sees things a little different than this perspective of water, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, again, it's just, yeah, the Cherokee Natives alphabet, you know, connected to the Ophanum and Enochian. basically, you know, again, in so many words, you know, so many words. In so many words, you know, the word magic to summon certain elementals, you know what I'm saying? And of course, I'm not, you know, not saying to be, you know, pro or against, you know, however you deal with, you know, channeling energies, but for sure, you know, being aware and researching before you deal with anything, you know, because mainly, you know, John D. and Edward Kelly, you know, may have not had a strong enough connection to, you know, on an ancestral level to be channeling those spirits. Hence why when you look up their story, like they both kind of went crazy somewhat, you know what I'm saying, from dealing with these energies. But, you know, more so the kind of from just the aspect of just kind of experimenting and not having again, like a strong ancestral connection on that level. Again, you know, I think about, you know, dealing with the animals. I want to say it was the podcast I did on the etiquette. Matter of fact, don't forget to check out the podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, what else? I always forget that other one. Oh, Google Podcast, and it's another one, but called Esoteric Lounge. You know, Esoteric Lounge, spelled exactly how it is. But I did a video. It was on etiquette of channeling, but then also I was talking about, you know, ducks, you know, and how ducks represent, like, you know, almost like a balanced energy of, like, you know, almost like an amphibious energy, you know, in a sense, like a duck could tap into the air element, you know, it's tapped into the water element, and it's tapped into the earth element, you know what I'm saying? And of course, you know, in some way, form, or fashion, you know, you could say fire in the sense of, like, they're more daytime or active when the sun is out, you know what I'm saying? And so they have that connection to, you know, the fire energy as well. But, you know, for sure, like the water, air, and earth energy, you know, it's kind of like a frog of birds in essence. So there's a message, again, like as an element, like, so an animal could just represent, you know, an element story. Like if you ask your inner being, you know, like whether it's an internal, you know, nudge or voice or picture that arises, because we, you know, again, everybody's different. Some people are more visual, some people are more feeling, some people are more, you know, clairaudient, where they hear things more people. Some people are more claircognizant. Some people pick up on the smells a little more, you know, like everybody has one particular area that they're stronger with, and that goes again back to the elements. But, you know, if you see a certain animal, you know what I'm saying, that animal is more so too pointing to a message of connecting with a certain element, you know what I'm saying? Like a worm, you know, would be promoting, like, you know, a connection to the earth element, you know what I'm saying? A wasp would be connecting to air and earth, you know what I'm saying? And maybe a little fire, because it got that fiery type of personality, and it'll sting you, you know what I'm saying? And that sting will feel like he got burnt by fire, you know, but, you know, it's a message again, and all of that. So again, it just all goes, you know, to, you know, finding that balance for yourself through, you know, your natal chart. You know, you see how many, you know, like, count how many, so say for instance, you got planets and more water signs than air signs? Do you have more planets and fire signs than, you know what I'm saying, than earth signs, you know what I'm saying? But you get more of a awareness of yourself, because again, like right now, the more importance is, well, for sure the importance is, again, awareness of self, but again, with awareness of self, realizing, the balance within, or the integrity that has to be established within, but then also externally, you know what I'm saying? Because of course, as much as I speak on, internal, again, it's internal and external, just in case someone may be led into thinking that it ain't about, how we connect with our external realm as well. It's a reflection of the internal, it's a balance, yin and yang, you know what I'm saying? You go within to the darkness within, closing your eyes, tapping in, and then you go into, the light, and the balance of, going back and forth between them. Oh, shout out to New Zealand. I always say that kind of wrong, Maori. As a matter of fact, that Maori Jade, speaking of balancing energies out, working with the kidneys, and again, even that, you tap into Tai Chi, Qigong, you know what I'm saying, or even the aspect of Feng Shui, or the I Ching, which, you have all the elements, connected to the different aspects of, how you set up your home, or again, like, because your home, your bodysuit is like a home, you know what I'm saying? Different organs more tapped into different elements. Right. I'm aligning something with more so with the crystals too. It's like, tapping into like crystals that could support, certain elements and areas that, you need to work on or have more, awareness of, or get better at connecting with. And, again, like strengths and weaknesses as far as on the element perspective. Yeah, that's definitely important. As a matter of fact, where everybody from, where everybody, everybody in the space, what area of the world y'all in right now? Say you found a website and you want to order a scroll booklet. I don't know what scroll booklet you're talking about that I've created. Got Rockford, Illinois in the space. We got Michigan in the place. Got South Illinois. Wait. From so I guess like South Illinois, but in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. All right. Georgia, the Georgia Stone energy up in the thing. Of course, this is just, again, that's why I'm like where you're holding space at. It's again, it's all reflective for sure. And I done been into that too, as far as like the areas we're in. Matter of fact, shout out to that. I would take that as an omen. I ain't been talking on it. It's like, you beep, backing up to re-explaining some shit that you done made about 40 videos about. But and then the train moving that weight. But that's another thing, you know, some of us, again, like you more of an earth energy, you may, like, again, fuck with somebody talking about too, if somebody try to tell you there's only one way for you to tap in, or you have to tap in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, I say fuck, you know, you ain't gotta be disrespectful about it. But, you know, just know, like, hey, that's, again, back to knowing ourselves. Because when we know ourselves, then we know, like, you know, like, you ever had that energy where somebody, like, tried to suggest some shit and that was off, and it's like, fuck that, I know me and I know what's best. So, you know, compared to, like, when you don't really know what's best for yourself, like, and you just open to so many suggestions, or you just find yourself, you know, in a hall of mirrors or in the labyrinth, you know, lost somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, again, because that's another thing, you know, I bring it up in my videos a lot, but, like, to those who, you know, pick up things, like, in their waking, like, so besides, like, when you're sleeping, like, also seeing the signs and symbols, like, when you're walking around in your day-to-day, you know what I'm saying? You know, you see, I brought up on an Instagram post, like, you see a lady, you know, an old lady with a Warren Sapp jersey on. Warren Sapp played for the Buccaneers, but his jersey was number 99, and in most cases, like, it'd probably be a red jersey. So it's like, oh, you know, root chakra, you know, and again, like, when certain stuff catch your eye in that manner, you know, it's speaking to you on a level, you know what I'm saying? And again, like, there's all the different messages in it. Back up, don't go too deep into that again. But yeah. Which also had omens about that too, you know, like when you hear like that forklift or that energy or something backing up, making like that backup noise, you know, like with constructing something, you know, sometimes these vehicles do have to back up to go forward, you know, like, you know, when constructing a home, or, you know, or just constructing anything on these construction sites, you think all the vehicles are always moving forward, like, hey y'all better not back up none of these vehicles. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep them all just going forward. If I see one forklift back up or one bulldozer back up, you know what I'm saying? It's like, no, you know what I'm saying? These vehicles also got to back up, you know, to move forward. And speaking of that, you know, right now, dealing with a lot of retrograde energy. You know, you got a lot of the retrogrades. Got, of course, everybody familiar with the Mercury retrograde that's coming up soon. But then you got Mars and Gemini retrograde, you know, from October 30th to January 12th. Basically January 12th, 2023. You got Jupiter in Aries, you know, retrograding from what that is, July 28th, and it's gonna come out of retrograde in November 23rd. You got Saturn in Aquarius retrograding, started retrograding in June 4th, and then coming out of retrograde on October 23rd. You got Uranus and Taurus started as retrograde in August 24th and coming out of retrograde in January 23rd, 2023. You got Neptune and Pisces started its retrograde in June 28th and coming out of its retrograde December 3rd. And then you got Pluto and Capricorn started its retrograde on April 29th. And it's coming out of its retrograde October 8th. You know, and, you know, again, man, it's no good or bad to none of this, you know what I'm saying? In the sense of, you know, everything serves its purpose, and you retrograde and you feel like, man, why I'm going through this again, or why I'm in this lesson loop. Like, man, give thanks to be going through a lesson loop, because your inner being / the universe is helping you to solidify a certain lesson that you may keep forgetting, that you need to learn moving forward. Well, once you see yourself go through something after you move forward from it, it's like, whoo, I'm grateful that I kept retrograding through that energy. I'm grateful that I kept going through that lesson loop till I memorized it and got it, like, cause this, if I would have rushed through, I tried to like not have that moment of learning this situation, I would be, not so much in I wouldn't be in such a aligned place, so to speak, a healthy place, so to speak, if I didn't learn that lesson, All right, say the planes, and it means different things in certain moments too, but all right, the airplanes flying over, helicopters may speak to like, because it is what it is. You don't get lost in the duality sauce of it, but just understanding like, all right, helicopter may mean somebody's like, spying in or peeking in at your energy, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes blackbirds mean that too. And that's where it comes into where, it's like, again, because the last thing you want to do is like create just like back and forth fight, aka, because again, it's like inner battles create external battles, you know what I'm saying? And for me, again, like having, like that return back to sender or just reflective energy, you know what I'm saying? Like not necessarily going to try to do something towards nobody. It's like just do whatever inner work to transmute that energy, have that protection shield in that sense of it. Because again, people going to always be trying to spy, trying to do this, trying to do that, wishing bad upon you. But it's like, again, it's the strength of your auric field, because if I'm paying more attention to strengthening my aura, then I'm gonna get to a place more and more where that stuff don't even affect me, compared to like if I start to focus on back and forth with this person, then I'm not writing the book I'm here to write, making the music I'm here to make, you know what I'm saying, drawing the pictures I'm here to draw, you know what I'm saying, doing the consultations I'm meant to do and all that, if I'm like in a little what it is, World of Warcraft type of energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, you again, like you have, in essence, there is some energy of, war or Mars-like energy that exists on some levels, again, no positive, no negative, no good or bad, I should say, it exists on some level, but again, it's like not being so, extremely externalized about it, because again, in essence, the work we do, the inner work / internal work / external work we do in some way, form, or fashion is kind of upsetting another, let's just say upsetting the antagonist in some way, form, or fashion. So it has like a quote unquote battle energy to some extent, but yeah, just again, swinging it back to the retrogrades, appreciation for these retrogrades, you know what I'm saying? Because it's really allowing for us to refine ourselves and just gain certain wisdom about why we kept doing certain things, you know what I'm saying? And helping to like gain a lot of clarity before moving forward. Matter of fact, when we get to about, matter of fact, you can say like around January, let's just say when Uranus come out of retrograde, January 23rd, because most of them already going to be done come out of retrograde. It's going to be essence of a lot of moving forward around January next year. And matter of fact, a little bit afterwards, coming out of that winter, season, Because again, even if it's retrograde work, you're still being present, you're still moving forward. Your present moment is asking for you to, reflect and introspect on certain aspects, And it's just, it may not be as deep or as much as others, but it's some form of, again, like with all these retrogrades, it's definitely, it's inevitable that, you know, it's some form of retrospect and or should I say, you know, introspect and connection with, you know, certain past aspects, you know, again, like dealing with the past and relevance to our now moment, you know, definitely coming up. That's basically it, you know. Again, learning about them elements in the natal chart, because I also thought about the Chiron again. Like, if you got, you know, like, again, think about it as an element. You know, if my Chiron is in a, you know, again, like an air sign, like my Chiron is in, you know, Aquarius, then you also, again, like, look at it as, you know, the wounded healing air. Like, my air element was wounded in the past, you know, from my past lives, the air element. So the way I speak, the way I think upon things, or with, you know, Aquarius energy, you know, like most cases, like, you know, thoughts and words in connection with being a humanitarian or bringing forth some type of change for the world, you know what I'm saying? Like, that air aspect was wounded in the past, you know what I'm saying? If you have Chiron in Aries, which Chiron is in Aries right now, you know, in general, as far as the transit that's going on right now, but in your natal chart, you know, if Chiron was in Aries, you know, it's like a wounded fire, you know, like something may have wounded the spontaneous energy within you, or the, you know, that trailblazing energy within you, you know what I'm saying, has been wounded, you know what I'm saying? So it's like focusing on how can you, you know, literally, you know, put some fuel to the flame in that area, you know what I'm saying, in a healthy manner, you know what I'm saying? But any questions before I go? Any questions? All right, Chiron and Aries, yep. Gotta heal that fire element. Heal that cardinal fire. You know, again, having to do things that, you know, support the Aries energy, you know, again, like being more spontaneous, you know, like, say, for instance, like, that type of wound would mean you probably, like, tend to probably, like, overthink things before you do it, you know, scared of, like, kind of fearing spontaneity, you know, fearing being dynamic or taking action, you know what I'm saying, kind of having a energy of, you know, not trusting your own ideas, or being, you know, having problems with being innovative in some way, form, or fashion, you know, like that aspect may be wounded. Chiron and Capricorn, you know, you may be wounded in the perspective of, you know, how you present yourself to the world, or, you know, or again, like, more so from the earth element, you know, like how you solidified yourself on, you know, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, like a business level, or how you provided goods and services in the past, you know, and sustained yourself in the past in some way, form, or fashion. You know, the way you had stability may have been wounded in the past, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But any questions before I go? course, again, got the new podcast on observation, new podcast episode on observation that I just posted. Being more observant and understanding what observant or being observant or what observation mean, in our experience. We talk about being more observant and, again, and not being judgmental, that whole aspect. I have another one coming soon. Looking to focus a little more on the podcast. But of course, I like, again, like indulging in the lives to connect with y'all in real time. Of course, any and all donations are greatly appreciated as well. I made that leap, no more monetization. So that'll be greatly appreciated. You can also check out the jewels and jewelry in the Etsy shop as well. Right, no questions, man. I be really fully. That's why I take no questions as a. Well, it could mean a little bit of both. It's like either I really explain things or, well, no. Really explain things well. So no questions. Going once. Going twice. Let me see if I may have skipped over something that I was. Leo sun. Oh yeah, I may have to tap in with that, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Braxton. Right now I'm being asked to get my own little things organized. Having to do some inner work to make sure I don't have to do too much external confirming, but just off of the strength of like being, interested in it, you know what I'm saying? So no questions though, no questions about anything. Saturn energy, from from what I've been getting recently more so, you know what I'm saying, for one, kind of has like a, you know, it's almost like a feminine, masculine energy in essence, you know, and it's a representation of, you could say, time in essence. You know, almost probably like mother, father time. You know, because again, you know, karma is, quote unquote, that's why Kronos represents like being, you know, in Greek mythology, being like the parent to the gods in essence, because an archetype is created because of cause and effect, you know. Again, like speaking of the Gnostic scriptures recently, you know what I'm saying, like where, you know, there was a certain cause, then the effect, like in the sense of like when Yadalabra got casted into Tartarus, you know, and again, seeing that Greek/Christian connection in the Gnostic scriptures, but when Yadalabra was casted into Tartarus, that was the cause. The effect was a being called jealousy was created. You know, so jealousy was born out of cause and effect, you know, because again, I like to keep things, and that's one thing I'ma always stay on. Of course, it's all levels. It's not just the level of how I kind of speak on it, where it's like, hey, y'all, it's just raw energy being expressed. Because again, when you do get into words of beings, it is a egregor, you know, by definition. Now, unless we want to use another definition for egregor, you know, again, it's a thought form. It's like you decided to call, instead of like us all agreeing that this energy is just raw water. It's like, no, some people want to call it Oshun, some people want to call it Freya, some people want to call it, you know, Mamewata, some people want to call, you know what I'm saying? But with that, you know what I'm saying, if just certain people calling this element this name, it creates like a thought form in connection with this name. Why? Because they just feed it this energy, you know, they just do these types of prayers when connecting with this name, you know what I'm saying? So it's like a thought form, you know, and again, no good or bad, right or wrong to none of that, you know what I'm saying? Again, as long as you know, how to not worship externally with dealing with that energy, you know what I'm saying? And to each his own. I can't tell you how, you know, but just in the truth of it, you know, knowing to not worship these things. But yeah, speak of the Saturn energy, or, you know, that Kronos energy, again, like father, mother, time in essence, you know, and again, the story of Kronos like eating his children, you know, because time, you know, also consumes things, you know what I'm saying? Because time is gonna, quote unquote, consume his bodysuit. Why? His bodysuit has a born date, so it's gonna have an expiration date, you know. Now, when you go deeper into it, you know, the expiration date of these bodysuits shouldn't be as soon as it has been, you know, in recent years, you know what I'm saying? Like the bodysuit lasted a little longer than it does, you know, now, and I feel like that'll change. But again, it has an expiration date. You know, if it has a born date, it has an expiration date. You know, if you gave it a name, you had to give birth to an alphabet, you know, to give something a name, then it also is going to have an expiration date, you know what I'm saying, in some way, form, or fashion. You know, hence why, again, like the truest essence of anything, you know, again, though, it's a balance, you know, that's why we appreciate this experience, even with the names and whether something is a egregor or not. You know, it's just understanding how to connect and deal with all of, you know, of all, you know, how to deal and connect with it. But yeah, you know, karmic energy, in essence, you know, again, it's cause and effect, you know, just again with the simple aspect, because that little storyline in the origins of the world, if you look up in the origins of the world, Gnostic scriptures, or what it is, or the hypostasis of the archons, you know, and you kind of see like, all right, this action by this being, you know, this cause had an effect, you know, and created this type of world, you know. So again, Yadala brought being casted into Tartarus, you know, had the effective, matter of fact, creating jealousy and death. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of that, you know what I'm saying, because Chronos, all that Saturnian energy is connected to the death energy as well. But again, cause and effect, creating, you know, these different energies. All right. No more questions. I'm out. In and out, in and out. Oh, as a matter of fact, when you say the God of this world, in essence, also, yeah, it has some energy, you know, like it is a governing factor of this realm in some way, form, or fashion, for sure, but not the, you know what I'm saying? Like Saturn energy is not the only thing, you know what I'm saying, that has a strong influence on this realm. All right. Y'all know what it is. Now to vibrate. Not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past. Oh, all right, hold on. All right, what elements aid with self-discipline? Air and earth. More so earth, you know what I'm saying? Because discipline in so many words, you know, it's stability. As a matter of fact, the question just was about Saturn. Saturn, you know, rules over, matter of fact, has a rulership over earth sign, and, you know, some consider it to be the ruler of Aquarius still, you know. So it has a rulership over air and earth element, you know, so that points to, you know, again, like that discipline energy coming from, you know, that earth energy. Because again, like the goat and the archetype of the animal that's connected with this element of earth, you know, this cardinal element of earth, you know, it climbs up the mountain due to, you know, that stability or discipline. You know, it has to be discipline, you know, because if you climbing up the mountain and you all like, like any kind of way, let's just run up the mountain, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that probably ain't gonna be the most healthiest way to climb a mountain. You know, it'll take some form of discipline. You see them goats, I don't know how they I like to see, I need to watch a video on how some of them goats be like on the mountains. Like I'm talking about, I don't even see how they hoofs be even clinging on to nothing. You know what I'm saying? But they just be like, I'm talking about, don't even seem like a place for them to even hinge their legs on, but they be on their little mountain, you know what I'm saying? But it takes discipline, you know what I'm saying, to climb up that mountain on that level. So to answer that question again, earth and air, matter of fact, again, like that's the whole fluorite energy as well, you know, it's kind of like that, you know, because in order to also have a strong discipline about things, you know, you have to have a clear mental, you know, aspect, you know, have to have those thoughts clear, you know, hence why, you know, the whole aspect of meditation, you know. But in order to have, you know, some form of discipline, you know, and when you think about discipline also takes, you know, focus of repetition. So that's why pyrite and hematite, you know, It's like kind of closely connected with the iron aspect, but closely connected with the earth, element, because they're like heavier, because out of all elements, earth is the quote unquote heaviest, you know what I'm saying? And again, to kind of coincide with the Saturn question, like through all those karmic incarnations, like corn, like you think about incarcerated or incarnation, you know what I'm saying? And carnivorous, you know what I'm saying? Like a meat suit, you know what I'm saying? Like being a meat suit, or driving a car, vehicle, made out of meat, carnivore, carnivore, all that little connection on the wordplay. But, yeah, it takes that earth energy. And having a strong mental, because again, like, what happens when when the air is not disciplined? Oh, look at that over there. Oh, look at that over there. Oh, what about that? Oh, shit. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, the mind is all over the place. The air element is like, so it kind of you lack that discipline in essence, or that focus. And again, no coincidence that the hematite, the pyrite, think about tiger iron, but it all kind of relates back to iron, in some way, form, or fashion, because even pyrite is like, iron sulfide, you know what I'm saying? Goethite, you know what I'm saying? Because also, when we talk about protection, or, like I need a crystal to protect me, or in so many words, again, it ain't protecting you like setting up a shield of protection just by itself. It's like, no, it's helping you to become more focused, more disciplined on what you got going on, so that you're not distracted by, certain toxic things in your external realm. Because again, every interaction externally may not be don't want to make it sound like all of the external realm is a distraction. Like, no, you connecting with certain things externally, that is a representation of you being focused on what you got to do, you know what I'm saying? But again, those protective crystals is like, fortifying your focus in one area, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, and it helps with memory, so you memorize, things, because again, a part of a lesson loop, why you gotta loop through a lesson is because you haven't fully grasped and memorized the lesson. Just like how certain aspects of school is about, even though, things, it's not just based off of memory, but in so many words, it's like memorizing something kind of prevents, like I talked about recently in the memory, matter of fact, in the video I just did on memories, and like how lesson loops will come up on my psychedelic journeys, and literally like life is a trip. So it's all kind of, even without taking psychedelics, it's still like a subtle form of that same energy, where, a lesson loop will keep coming up until like you realize like, oh shit, I'm going in this cycle because it's trying to make me realize that I need to hug myself more, let's just say. So, all right, bam, you get the realization, and you also gotta like really understand it, and ground it into your being, or AKA memorize it. But literally, like on a trip, if you, like, say for instance, if the trip was trying to get you, the trip lesson loop was trying to get you to remember to hug yourself a lot, the moment you even slip for a second and just kind of forget to maintain, like, oh yeah, I gotta hug myself a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like literally, the loop would start again, and you kind of like, again, back and like, well, wait, why am I loop? Oh shit, all right, and you gotta just keep, memorizing it, in some way, form, or fashion. So, and again, element wise, that speaks to those, grounding crystals, all those crystals that help promote, focus. And again, that works with more so the earth and the air elements. Hence why, what it is, Virgo. I think Virgo ruled by Mercury, which Mercury is more like an air energy, you know what I'm saying? A planet that's dealing more with an air aspect, because it's communication, it's words, you know what I'm saying? Thought processes, you know what I'm saying? Air, that Fool's Gold is a nickname for pyrite, but actually you know, which I definitely feel like that was like a omens shit, you know, collect you some pyrite in essence, because, you know, it said that gold actually does grow close to pyrite, or even sometimes in pyrite in essence, you know what I'm saying? So as much as they call it fool's gold, you know, it may be some actual gold in pyrite, you know, as well. In fact, I know that's my bracelet. Got the pyrite in the bracelets for sure. And then also, no coincidence, in fact, if you see this, my fluorite piece, you know, the yellow, where this come from, Morocco, yellow from the El Hammam mine in Morocco. But you got the fluorite, and then on this side, you see it got like pyrite inclusions on it. I know this camera ain't doing it too much justice, but pyrite actually grows close to fluorite in a lot of cases. So you also see how, you know, the nature of the minerals, you know, also speak to, you know, like the energies it connect with and represent, you know what I'm saying? Because that really causes a strong stability, you know, mentally, or should I say with the air element and the earth element is, you know, pyrite and fluorite. It really stabilizes, locks it in. All right, no more questions. Right, yeah, we're gonna commence it. I ain't gotta be trying to stay away from, unless there's just really long explanations that's necessary. I don't want to go too much into those 3 or 4 hour builds. Yeah. All right. In fact, that's what I'm working with too. Got the Hematite. In fact, shout out to Mr. Braxton for the Rude Rakshas. We got the Hematite Rude Rakshas, Petersite, which this piece of Petersite has a lot of iron in it, a lot of limonite. Limonite is like more alkaline aspect of iron, because goethite is like that too. Goethite is more like a oxygenated or oxidized version of iron, or more so again like more alkaline aspect of iron. And then, you know, the hematite is more so like the more acidic aspect of iron. No good, bad, right or wrong, you know. It's just one is more alkaline, one is more, you know, more of an acid base iron in essence. But, yeah, most definitely. All right, then. Gonna commence. Then y'all know what it is. Now is the vibrate. Not too far in the future, not too far in the past. Right now, you know what I'm saying? Staying present, staying grateful, staying creative, tapped into the inner guidance, and all that good stuff. And integrity, and harmonizing these inner energies, or inner elementals, harmonizing the elementals. Peace, y'all. And again, remember, podcast, Esoteric Lounge, Etsy shop, Epic Lifestyles, EPIKLIFESTYLEZ. Any and all donations greatly appreciated. Donation link is underneath all of the videos, and the Instagram link, because sometimes I may do lives on Instagram and have just different little insight. Matter of fact, for my jewelry or just in general on my personal Instagram page, which the links is underneath the videos as well. But peace. How to vibrate, y'all know what it is.